The cold open is the cold open.
The cold open is the fact that I'm saying, hey, hi, hello, everyone, and welcome to Afterbite. It's a Vampire Diaries fan cast. It's only 10 years too late. That's it. That's the whole cold open.
Yay!
Sorry, y'all. Our brains today, not working.
We have been recording for 20 minutes and have gotten nothing usable out of it, basically.
Nothing.
We did talk about Claire Holt, though.
That's the only good thing that we've done. Everything else we've done has been... I don't mean this, like, I don't mean to downplay this, but it has been the stupidest shit I've done in a while.
Yeah. No, yeah. I completely agree. 100% agree. And you know, it's like been a while since we've sat down to record.
Yeah.
So, you know, especially all three of us. So things are bound to get a little loopy when all three of us are in the same space.
Brian, the vengeful ghost, has returned. He's back. He's living
with a new mic.
He has a new mic. Things sound better now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like Jeremy. Can he like speak to the dead?
Brian, can you speak to the dead?
Yeah, they put me on call waiting. They put me on call waiting though.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
Yeah, they said call back later.
Hey, actually, I don't mean to ruin our flow right now, but I did just hear an echo coming from Brian's microphone, so let's double check.
Motherfucker!
So welcome to episode 30 of Afterbite.
Woo!
This is the big 3-0, folks.
Woohoo!
That sounded so weak.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. My throat is not cooperating. That was supposed to be like more energized.
A more energetic woohoo? Can I have a good energetic woohoo from both of you, please?
Yeah, okay. Hold on, I have to like psych myself up because I've been having a pretty low day, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Woohoo!
There we go. Look at us. We're all happy folks here. We're happy campers. This episode of Afterbite, where we are talking about episode 308 of The Vampire Diaries, Ordinary People. The Netflix description of this episode is weird. It is Elena and Rebecca engage in a power struggle until Rebecca reveals some of her family's ancient secrets and the violent past she shares with Klaus. I don't think it was a power struggle.
Mean, there really wasn't a power struggle. It was more just Elena tricking her.
But not even like tricking her.
It wasn't... Yeah,
there was a give and take.
It was kind of Elena just being clever.
Yeah, it was like no answers for free.
Help me pick out my homecoming dress, and then I'll tell you things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think...
Let's go in a panty-rated bedroom.
Let's go read his diaries for fun, ladies.
And here's some of my emotional trauma.
That's just a regular, like, sleepover between girls, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I was about to say, I wouldn't know, just unpacking trauma with friends.
I wouldn't know.
Oh, do you not unpack trauma with friends?
No, we just go to Disney World.
You want to talk about this episode of Afterbite?
Yeah!
My cat's going to jump onto my desk in about 4 seconds, so this is a perfect time to start.
Yay!
Don't encourage her. We start this episode in the caves, where we left off last time. In case you forgot, last episode was kind of buck fucking wild. Please just listen to our breakdown of it, where we literally have a breakdown over it. Ghost World was buck wild.
It was a good y'all. If you missed the last episode, you're missing out because it was like one of our best episodes.
Very wild episode, and I know I say that a lot, but it rivaled Chili Party in terms of like wildness.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't listened to it yet, and I cannot wait.
It's out now on all your favorite podcatcher platforms. It's called Benjamin, the Taco Bell Ghost.
Who's Benjamin? I don't know. I'll find out eventually.
You'll find out. His name is pretty descriptive. Benjamin, the Taco Bell Ghost. Take a wild guess at who Benjamin is and where he is.
He works at a combo Pizza Hut Taco Bell.
The combination Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. Yes. No.
Oh.
We catch up this episode. We start in the caves where Elena and Alaric and Damon are traveling through to try and find some of the fucking cave drawings that they saw earlier. basically Alaric reveals that it's, an old story. There were some allusions to werewolves that shows that they have been in Mystic Falls for a lot longer than they originally thought.
Weird.
Interesting.
Alaric.
It's like there were people in Mystic Falls in Virginia way before Virginia was Virginia.
Oh my God, really? No.
Wonder who those could be.
Whoa.
Wonder who they could be.
Huh. Wow. It's kind of like history's a lie.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And the only thing we have is the cave paintings underneath the fictional town.
That also brings up something, though, that is very disturbing that we will bring up again later. But, like,
there's so much to unpack about this entire
episode is a lot to unpack, but we'll get to that in a second. Alaric also shows off another carving of names that are carved in, like, old Viking runic symbols, and that the names translate to Niklaus, Elijah, and Rebecca. I don't know. We haven't met anybody with the name Niklaus yet.
Yeah, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
So
kind of weird.
This is going to be a good episode, folks, because we get a flashback pretty early on here.
Yeah.
And, I know.
You know how flashbacks are.
I love flashbacks
so we see
so much.
Rebecca carving her and her brother's names into the cave walls. And she's like defying Viking gender roles. Love that. And Klaus is scared of their father. And then Rebecca drops what I think, is this like her first Always and Forever? Is it the first Always and Forever?
I think it is. I think it's the first Always and Forever.
I think it's the first Always and Forever. I hope you're ready to hear this statement a lot.
A lot.
Pretty much constantly. Once an episode at least for every episode of the originals and most of the episodes of TVT.
Yeah. Yeah, you got until season 5, episode 1,
and then
you will hear Always and Forever.
Season 1, episode 1 through season 5, episode 13, you will hear Always and Forever. A bunch. It is. I do like it.
I will say, though, it's a very nice sentiment, though.
They beat that dead horse into glue.
Oh my God.
And that glue became the only thing that is holding the Vampire Diaries universe together.
The Bonnie Bennett flex tape.
And then this Always and Forever glue.
This Always and Forever horse glue.
God.
They discover that the original vampires were in Mystic Falls before the founding of America itself.
Which America was never found. It was always there.
That wording was just like, okay.
Like,
cool.
All right. Before the white people came, basically. Before the settling happened. Before colonization.
My question is, did these Vikings colonize these people?
Oh, absolutely. And we are going to get back to that later. Because we are going to get back to it, Jordan. And I so have words. I so have words to say.
So many.
So Elena, though, thinks that this cave is just one of Klaus's fakes. But then Alaric shows another name, Michael, the vampire hunter, who is Klaus, Elijah, and Rebecca's father.
Let's talk about how Michael, now that we know that Michael is their dad, let's talk about how his name is Michael Michelson.
He doesn't have a last name. His children are the sons of Michael.
What?
So they have the last name. That's how Viking names work.
So much more sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like how, I'm gonna go, like how Thor is Thor Odin's son because he is the son of
Or like
Odin.
that's common American last names, Davidson, Johnson.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Michelson. Michael does not have a last name. His name is not Michael Michelson.
But imagine it was. Let's imagine for a second it was.
So at Alaric's apartment, Damon and Elena are just sort of sparring in the background while Alaric is trying to do actual work.
They're like two little kids.
Big mood. Exactly.
I love it.
So Alaric's like talking. He's like, well, we need to figure out what all these pieces mean and how it all fits together. And Elena says this dumbass line that I pointed out because I hated. Elena's like, we only have to find out what it means. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. No fucking shit, dude. Yeah, that's the fucking mystery, dumbass.
This is why Elena's in Sherlock. She's Watson.
She looks at it, that is sure weird. She would be the type to look at a dead body and go,
Oh,
It's
fuck, there's a
dead.
body.
they're dead. It's just like, I know, like, this episode has a lot of really... This episode has a lot of really, like, blatant storytelling, like, mechanics. Like, very, like, rarely do I see mechanics laid this bare for everybody to enjoy. But some of the things Alaric does this episode, I'm like, okay, so that's just mechanics, right?
There's one thing that Rebecca does, like, when she's telling her story, I'm like, wow, that's a real cliche move you guys have done there. Love that.
Yeah. Speaking of Rebecca, she's doing more flips in front of the high school. Because she's very cool, and I love her to death.
I love it.
So Elena basically reveals to her that they found the cave carvings, and she wants answers. Rebecca's, like, not about it. But Elena reveals that they have found Michael and will wake him up. And Rebecca is scared. Visibly very scared. And she warns Elena that if they wake Michael,
I wonder why.
they're all doomed. So we do another flashback to Brian. You have it described as Ye Old Mystic Falls. Honestly, not the worst thing you've done in these notes. So
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Basically, Elijah and Klaus are dueling, and I do have to say here, we do need to add another one to Elijah's bad wig counter.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah.
This now makes it 2 bad wigs for Elijah, and that is 2 bad wigs for as many time periods as we've seen him in. Both flashbacks here, he has had some pretty bad wigs, boy.
I can't wait till we get to the end of the seasons, and then I get to tally that up, make it a part of the infographic, and then include it, like a little graphic
of Elijah's bad wigs.
Head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
Can't wait for that one. So he and Klaus are dueling. They're sort of like having a laugh about it. You can tell they're good friends, good brothers. And Klaus basically slices Elijah's belt off. Which is just, it's fun. It's rowdy boys having some rowdy fun. This is good.
It's very cutesy.
They're cute.
It's like very much like we're in the olden times. Let me slice off your belt real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like, haha, I have.
There's some rowdy boys having some rowdy fun. However, their father, Michael, hates it. He hates fun. He specifically hates Klaus.
He is literally the worst.
He is the worst.
He just screams like all the bad qualities of white men.
Oh, yeah. He is literally a colonizer from, he's literally a colonizing white man. I don't think we can say that he's great.
Yeah.
Basically, he is going to beat the shit out of Klaus. And he's like...
We're like just having fun, mind you.
He's like, you have to fight to survive. When he's clearly just having a fun fight with his brother to practice their sword fighting skills. But okay.
It screams, I'm an abusive dad.
No. Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
The Viking guy? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Viking.
I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you. But abusive.
Keep this in mind that, like, this is the upbringing that the Michelson siblings had. Like, a lot of their shit starts to make a lot more sense now.
Yeah, I feel real bad for them.
And the worst part is that this isn't even the worst thing that Michael's even done.
This is the worst thing so far.
Like, this is tame compared.
I mean, literally, he becomes an immortal vampire hunter to kill his children, so... Not great guy. Shocking.
Nope.
So basically, Michael clearly hates Klaus, calls him like foolish and impulsive and all that good stuff. And Klaus's mother, Esther, is the one to break up the fight. And Michael basically stabs his sword into the ground next to Klaus's head and leaves. So,
yeah, just normal father-son bonding.
if this is normal father-son bonding, I understand why men are traumatized.
Yeah, I get it 100%, you know?
So Alaric, back in his apartment, Alaric begins to piece together what the symbols mean, and in the most like overt storytelling device where they literally just like have him labeling pictures and that's like his whole thing. I'm like, really, y'all? This is what you chose him to do? This is your show not tell moment?
I was like, originally I was like intrigued by the whole symbols because I was like, oh, they're gonna have to figure out how to decode this. I want to learn this skill, but then I saw what they were decoding and I was like, oh, so it was like really easy stuff. Got it.
Really
Vikings,
easy.
not the smartest folks. It's a picture. A picture means the thing. So there you go.
I also love how he like put the what was it, werewolf down. He put werewolf down. He was like, actually, no,
other one.
It's this one, and that's actually a vampire.
Yeah.
When it's clear as day that the one he put the werewolf down on is a vampire. You know, like it just like makes logical sense the first time you see it for that to be the vampire. But for some reason, Alaric was like, oh, that's a werewolf.
Alaric's a little rusty on decoding symbols from lost Viking civilizations. I give him this pass, but man, this just is like overtly a storytelling technique, you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes they can kind of mask the show not tell moments, but this time it's like, oh no, this is just like it, huh? We're showing.
Yeah, they're like, we showing.
So Elena is calling Damon, basically saying that she has it under control with Rebecca, that she just needs to play a mean girl power struggle for a little while. And Damon is going to check on Stefan in the prison cell.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it won't turn out poorly at all.
Yeah.
Basically, Alaric is kind of airing his doubts for Elena's plan to come to bring Rebecca around. And he's like, is this going to work? She's a 1,000-year-old vampire. And then Elena's phone buzzes with a text message from Rebecca saying to come over to the house. And Elena says my favorite line, I think, thus far is, she's a 1,000-year-old vampire who joined the cheerleading squad. There's a whole different set of rules in play here. Fuck yeah. Teenage girls. Hell yeah.
Love it. Because I get it. As someone who used to be a teenage girl. Yeah.
We all get it, you know? You need to work within the structures that you have right now. And right now, it's a cheerleading squad. And I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Elena knows how to play that game.
But also, like, how, though? She hasn't played that game in 2 full years. She went into a deep, deep depression, quit the cheerleading squad, and then had a bunch of more depressing shit happen to her.
I really like to think that, like, off screen, she got, like, the like a master.
That's what I was gonna say.
Caroline, like, real
That's
quick.
what I was gonna say. She must have called Caroline.
She must have. And we cut to the prison cell where Stefan and Damon are sharing a little chat. Damon's like, well, this Lexi recovery plan is not gonna work. And then Damon realizes that Stefan has given up and accepted his fate, so he does the most logical thing. He undoes Stefan's chains and takes him to get a drink. This, admittedly, this is the episode that I've kind of hated Damon the least in.
I will agree.
Yeah.
I will agree.
This was actually a really good...
It's a good Damon and Stefan episode.
I agree, yes.
Yeah, those are the episodes I love the most, when Stefan and Damon are just like brothering it up. And it's
they're
great,
just
and
two brothers
trying to kill each other.
doing stupid shit.
Playing dumb drinking games. So, back at the Salvatore house, Elena shows up as Rebecca begins a fashion show for her homecoming dress. And basically what this means is that Rebecca has compelled a bunch of girls to try on different dresses in front of them and model them. Which... I love the deviousness of teenage girls. You know? Like, yes, I get it. Rebecca's a 1,000-year-old vampire. Whatever. She's also a teenage girl.
Yeah.
And I love that. Basically,
I think it's also really interesting how, like, Rebecca has been asleep for so long, but somehow still innately knows these dynamics.
hey, listen, it's like riding a bike. She's also probably how intense do you think her post 90-year nap like binge session was? Like, did she watch Mean
Oh,
Girls? She's probably just watched
yeah,
Mean
most
Girls a whole
likely.
bunch, and now she's like, this is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's Regina
Exactly.
George.
you're right. You're right.
So she probably had a binge sesh to catch up on new technology and pop culture. The only piece of which that matters is Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
100%.
Elena's just like, I don't want to help you pick your fucking dress. Just like, tell me what I need to know. Becca's like, no, but that's no fun. And so she goes to feed on one of the girls, and Elena's like, nah, fuck it, the red one. Perfect. The red one looks real good on you.
I also love how there's. I'm pretty sure there's two.
There
red
were
dresses,
two red ones.
So I was like, I don't know what
There
you're
were.
referring to, Elena, but sure.
Sure, the red one. So basically, the model girls get to go home, and Rebecca tells Elena that she's gonna play this her way. She's only gonna tell Elena what she wants to tell her.
Yeah.
Which is usually how conversations work. I'm only gonna tell you what I want to tell you. Yeah, that's how a conversation works. It's back and forth where we both decide what we want to tell each other. But okay, Rebecca, I forgive you because you're the love of my life. That's fine. Bonnie makes her grand appearance this episode, showing up to Rick's apartment and bringing him Elena's necklace, which is the one that they destroyed to send all the ghosts back. And then, if you remember at the end of last episode, it just sort of magically reformed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's totally normal for necklaces.
It's totally normal for original witch necklaces.
But also, Bonnie doesn't show up again in this episode, right?
She's here.
No, she does. She's just kind of
there. She's vibing with Alark.
Where?
When they and Elena are at the cave again, Bonnie's there.
Oh!
Need to sit and chat.
You're right. She just really did not do anything.
She really didn't. This was a very Bonnie does a very important plot thing where the necklace that like the necklace of the original witch is also the symbol for witch.
Yeah.
So she does a very good plot thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just funny how they're like, Kat, we need you to like come in for this week.
Yeah.
They were like, first hand this over to Matt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great. Now we need you to stand in the background of
and
this
nod
scene.
and then say some things.
Great.
Like 4 lines.
And that's it for the episode. Have a good week. I'm glad.
And she collected that paycheck.
Paid for that.
They get paid the
She
same,
really
no matter if they talk or not. It doesn't matter how much you talk in an episode. As long as you talk, you get paid pretty much the same as your contract says.
Exactly. So she just won that. She just like did the bare minimum and got her bag.
Exactly. As she should.
Exactly.
So basically, the witch necklace is also what they use as the symbol for witch, which I love. I love this fact that these are not universal symbols. This is specifically like Rebecca's like shorthand dialogue, basically. Like her, it's almost like their, what's the word I'm looking for? Vernacular. It's not like a universal symbol. Yeah. That is not the universal symbol for witch. That's just this specific witch.
Yeah. Yeah, the universal symbol for witch is like a witch flying behind a moon.
I know, it's the big nose with the little warts on the end, and then the little potion, the toil and trouble.
Yeah, gotta love Salem.
Was that joke ever gonna go anywhere?
No, it just went somewhere, and it just didn't land.
that witch, that joke was a witch that fell off of its broom.
Yeah.
It didn't end up actually going anywhere except hard into the ground.
You know those like smash, like those Halloween decorations where the witch like smashed into the wall? Yeah. It's one of those.
That's that joke. Yeah, exactly. We go back to the Salvatore house where Elena and Rebecca break into Stefan's room, and Rebecca is going through like Stefan's room, his like diaries, everything. She's just reading.
Underwear.
She pulls out his underwear.
What is it with people with characters like pulling out other characters'
I don't know.
underwear
I don't
without their
ever want to go
permission?
into my friend's underwear drawer. That is a sacred place. You can chill
Like-
there. I'm gonna go raid like the closet, like the stuff hanging up in your closet. Fair game. The
Yeah,
underwear
exactly.
drawer, never.
Like, writers, what is going on there?
Whose weird fetish was this? Because it was somebody's weird fetish, you know, right? Like, it's happened so many times. This is definitely somebody's weird fetish.
Like somebody's inserting this into the script every single time, and it's just like, why?
I don't know, man. It's weird. I hate it. They go back to talking about history here, and, you know, back in ye olden day, there was a plague, you know, the plague. Actually,
As plagues.
an earlier plague than the plague, but a plague.
A plague of some sort.
Her parents lost their oldest child. They wanted to escape, so they escaped to a place where the people were healthy and blessed with the powers of speed and strength. And they heard about this from the witch Amaya. Or Anaya?
I think it's
Amaya?
Amaya.
No, that's the one from... It's Anaya. Because Amaya... Ayana. There we go. Because I was like, Amaya's the one from Legends of Tomorrow, right?
I don't know.
Yes, Amaya is from Legends of Tomorrow. Ayana is from this episode. So they lived amongst the werewolves and others peacefully for like 20 years and, you know, had more kids. Rebecca also reveals that once every month they would have to retreat into the caves to protect themselves from the werewolves.
Which is fair.
Yeah. We go back to ye old Mystic Falls, which is just going to be our code for flashback, and Rebecca's snooping through the cottage of the witch Ayana, and she finds a necklace that, you know, is the original witch's necklace that will one day become Elena's. And Ayana finds that, and the necklace burns Rebecca, saying that it's not meant to be yours.
I love Ayana. I know we only got her for one episode, but I love her.
Does it feel kind of weird to anyone else that they're implying that, like, the Native Americans were the first werewolves and that that was, like, sort of the thing?
Yeah.
And that, by the way, I also do want to mention, y'all, if you had Black Witch, who was probably a Bennett, on your bingo card, you can cross that one out.
100%.
Ayana, another Black Witch, who probably was a Bennett. So...
No, I can confirm she is a Bennett. She is a descendant of Bennett.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
So you can cross that off your bingo cards, folks.
I hate it here. Honestly, I hate it here.
There's so many Bennetts running around that I've just given up at this point.
But also, like, does it feel weird to anybody else that, like, the Native Americans were the first werewolves? Like, does that feel weird?
Yeah. It feels very weird. It feels bad. It feels like they shouldn't have done that, but they decided to do it anyways.
Y'all.
It feels very gross.
You can't just make Native Americans into the monster dogs. That's not great.
Especially because then you have these white people just come over to the land
because they heard about the cool monster dogs. Yeah.
Exactly. And they colonize it, and they're just like, but we have to kind of like keep away from them for like a certain time of the year, and like it's just doesn't
feel good
at all.
Yeah. It feels even worse because in this scene, in this flashback, Klaus comes running into the village carrying their youngest brother, Henrik. Henrik and Klaus had snuck out to watch the wolves, but Henrik got caught and killed by the wolves. Esther and Michael beg Ayana to help, but Ayana says that the spirits will not give her away and that Henrik is dead.
I just love how Ayana was like straight up like, yeah, no, he gone, he dead.
Your son is dead. Just like, okay, yeah, I.
So the spirit said, "Fuck you." Just imagine, like, any witch, like, someone asks them to do something, and they go, "The spirit said no."
I also love how, like, just like from the beginning, the Bennett witches have been like, "Sorry, I can't help you out. You're gonna have to figure that out on your own."
It feels kind of gross to me. We'll get back to it later.
Yeah.
Maybe never. Maybe this is one of the gifts that they give us, and we're like, can we unwrap this? And they're like, no.
And they're like, no. We're gonna actually
We're just gonna leave this here forever.
With the gift receipt. Here you go.
They don't even give us the gift receipt. I would take it back if I could.
Shit, we gotta get store credit. Fuck.
God, just in-store credit? I don't want anything else at this Macy's. I feel like we've done this exact joke before, right?
We probably have.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they do it so often. They give us bad gifts so often and expect us to just deal with it and just be okay with it.
I feel like we did that exact joke with Macy's before for some reason.
It's kind of like how many cultures and people can you offend?
A lot. You have a lot of time. You have 100, nearly 200 episodes. You want to make that? You want to put that on the bingo card too?
You've offended someone in this episode.
You've punched down to offend a culture that got colonized and or wiped out and destroyed.
Even just like the whole implications of that, plus the fact that they can now live forever.
Plus the fact that they became vampires, yeah. Feels gross, doesn't it?
Just like a metaphor for like the colonizers becoming a terror.
Maybe we assign too much value to the things they say in TVD, but if we don't, who will?
Exactly.
Who will?
We have to make something out of nothing. And that's just
this show as a nutshell. I hate to break it to y'all. That's all we do. So Rebecca basically tells Elena that after that incident, it was the end of the peace with the wolves, and one of the last moments her family was human. Elena's phone rings at the most inopportune time possible, and it's Damon calling to check up on her, and she discovers that Damon let Stefan out, saying that he's going to handle it.
This is going to end well.
It can only go up from here?
Yeah.
With Damon involved?
But Stefan's hit a pretty rock bottom. Maybe it can only go up from here.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. Yeah, when Stefan's like, if it was the normal duo, then I would like maybe give them a little bit of a chance, you know? Mm-hmm. But like Stefan's out of commission, you know? So like, what are they gonna get up to?
Yeah, you just don't know. What are these wacky boys gonna be up to? Who knows? We do know because they go to a bar, and that's where we head next.
Mm-hmm.
Where Stefan's scoping out what he would like to eat, and Damon compels the bartender to let Stefan feed from her. Great.
Yeah, this is normal.
This whole bar scene, y'all.
Yeah. I will admit, I did laugh when as Stefan is feeding on the bartender, Damon just leans across and goes, "Hi, Callie."
Hi. Hey.
Like I just found that funny. I was like,
it's just a funny moment where he's just like, "Hi." Something very unpleasant is happening to you, but hi, my name's Damon Salvatore. I'm a more unpleasant thing to happen to you.
I kind of hope they tipped her well.
They didn't.
There was like,
you know they didn't.
There's like a lot.
Damon Salvatore does not tip.
He doesn't tip 15%.
And Stefan's like being an ass
and
right
Stefan's
now, so
being mean. So yeah,
tip.
No, they definitely did not tip this poor girl. Damon and Stefan play some drinking games as they talk about Stefan's past bunny diet. Stefan is very good at this drinking game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good old-fashioned quarter flip. How long do you think it took Paul Wesley to get good at that?
He was probably just like hovering like the coins above and just going bloop, bloop, bloop. Or Paul Wesley's just really good at that.
I choose to believe Paul Wesley's very good at that.
Paul Wesley's good at
I was believing it was like some sort of that's what they spent the CGI budget on.
Paul Wesley coin flipping.
Exactly. Damon reveals that he really likes this version of Stefan, and they sort of like continue their brotherly bonding.
Yeah, this kind of whole sequence is just kind of like Damon like being like shadily trying to get Stefan back, but not making it like the forefront.
It's, I will admit this, the most tolerable Damon has been all season for me. And I think the whole series.
And this is only season 3.
I know. This is the most tolerable he is.
Because he's not being stupid.
I will say throughout this episode, I didn't feel like an urge to like punch him in the face, you know?
And sometimes that's a win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a win, you know?
That's very true.
We go back to the Salvatore house where Rebecca's continuing her little snooping. And she's asking Elena about questions about her relationship with Stefan. And Elena believes that she knows more about Stefan than Rebecca does. Rebecca's like, no, I know Stefan a lot better than you do because he's a vampire. And vampires don't have time to care about humans. Elena is like, well, I'm fucking tired of this. I'm just gonna leave. Good job, Elena. Stand up for yourself, sweetheart. And Rebecca is like, yeah, but why is that? And Elena's just like, well, maybe if you want a fucking friend, either I can be here or you can compel yourself one.
Which is like, okay, Elena, go off, sis, I guess.
Go off, I guess? Rebecca, though, kind of turns heel and reveals that that necklace belonged to the original witch. And she also reveals that it wasn't just the witch who put the curse on Klaus, but the original witch is the one who made the first original vampires.
Ooh.
Which, when you hear that, it's like, whoa.
Ooh, spooky.
Because you're kind of like, what? That doesn't sound like something a witch, especially like a Bennett witch, would do. You know?
Why would a Bennett witch have a hand in creating vampires? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, you're like, that doesn't make like a lot of sense. I wonder, like, how did she even get convinced to do that?
But also, it does kind of make sense to me because she's called the original witch and they're called the original vampires. I kind of drew that conclusion a little bit ago.
Yeah, no, I guess for me, I wasn't thinking that the original like, especially because what we know about like witches and how like they are just like very like tied into nature and like the balance of nature. It doesn't seem like something a witch would do unless there was like unforeseen circumstances, you know? Like for example, when Bonnie decided to bring Jeremy back to life because she loved him, you know? So to me, I think I was surprised by that, and I was wondering what happened so that like the original witch's hand was forced into doing that. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, something must have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think we already kind of have an idea of what happened here. But the next scene, where we go back to ye old Mystic Falls. Michael is begging Ayana to call upon the spirits before the next full moon to protect their family. And Ayana's like, nah, fuck you. That is a crime against nature. I will have no part in it. Esther believes that what they are planning will protect their children, and Michael says that it like will all fall to you now.
Basically.
And Michael basically what he wanted to do was be superior to the wolves, faster, stronger, better. His biggest downfall is his pride. Like,
to me, it also felt like very greedy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a very prideful man, and pride and greed are very similar. They manifest in very similar ways here, and basically, he's really trying to lay into Ayana to perform a spell to have their family live forever. And Ayana's like, this would have consequences and be the making of the plague. And she says that the spirits will turn on them and she will play no part in it. So Michael turns to Esther and tells her that it is in her hands.
Her hands?
Rebecca, well, he was turning to Esther as he was saying it. I like how you're trying to be dramatic here, Brian, but also it was directly aimed at Esther. And we have made the illusion that Esther is the witch of the original family, hence the original witch.
I will say, though, when I first watched this as a dumb 16-year-old, I was like, oh, that's so smart.
No, maybe I will say as a dumb adult, I thought that was like very cool of them
It's
to
very
do.
cool though. I was like, how they call her the original witch. My first assumption was like this was like the original witch, like the first witch.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
But
that's
I
what I
like
thought
that
too.
it wasn't.
She's the first witch that we've seen who's not a Bennett witch.
Yeah,
basically.
And she's right.
A very like a competent witch who's not a Bennett witch. Congrats, Esther Michelson. Or just
Yay!
Esther. I don't think you have the name of Michelson technically.
I think she takes it.
I think she takes it. Who fucking knows?
She takes it and runs with it.
This also brings new light into the conversation that Klaus had in The Reckoning, I think, where he was like, well, if the original witch tells me to do one thing, then I'm going to do the other thing.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot he said that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so then that makes what's revealed later makes so much more sense.
Whoa. This shit causes a lot of things to
clicking together.
Yeah, everything comes together. So back in the Salvatore house in present day, Rebecca gets herself a drink, and Elena's like, so are you technically a witch since your mom was a witch? And she reveals that it is impossible to be both a witch and a vampire, since a vampire is an abomination to nature, and witches are servants to nature. You can be one or the other, but never both. Basically, the way that the spell worked is that Esther drew upon the sun and for life and the ancient oak tree, which is one of, an immortal thing, basically, to make the spell. And that night, Michael fed them all wine laced with blood and then stabbed them in the heart. Not gently.
Oh, that part? I was like, oh, this family is fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, you have no idea.
I was like,
oh, this isn't even the worst.
Like, that alone, just stabbing your children in the heart.
Granted, Klaus wasn't his kid, but...
Well, yeah, I guess. But, he also did it to his other children.
Yeah.
So.
And basically, it cuts to a flashback, again, where they're in Yield Mystic Falls, and Klaus and Rebecca awake on the floor with blood on the front of their clothes. Michael comes in with a girl and reveals that in order to complete the ritual, they have to drink more blood. Michael cuts up the girl's arms, and Klaus is trying to stop him from making Rebecca drink, but Michael pushes him back and forces Rebecca to drink, and she does, and she becomes a vampire.
One of the first vampires.
However, there were consequences. Basically, the sun was their enemy. Every time they tried to walk into it, they would burn. Esther did, however, find a way to undo that for them without the use of the daylight rings, I think. Or wait, no, this was the use of the daylight rings, right? Okay, yeah.
I have to say, is that explained?
Yes, it's not explained there, but it is implied that it is the daylight ring because...
Because Rebecca's walking through, she's looking at the ring like she just got engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And later, if they do take off their daylight rings, they do still burn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for Klaus. Because the werewolf thing. So they were also unable to enter into homes, and the flowers...
That part I thought was so cool.
It is. It's super dope.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that makes so much more sense, and that's such a cool piece of lore. Thank you for putting that there for me.
It also reveals that the flowers at the base of the white oak tree burned them and prevented compulsion.
Which just happened to be Vervain.
I will note, at this point in time, the original vampires, when they first became vampires, the original vampires did not know about compulsion or that they could compel somebody. So they just knew at this time that it would just burn them.
They didn't know it would be they had more abilities. They just were like, oh, ouch. Flower burn.
Flower hurt bad.
Like a newborn. Like a child touching
exactly.
a fire.
Yeah, basically.
So, basically the spell decreed that the tree that gave them life could also take it away, so they burned the white oak to the ground.
I love that.
And
I just love that little oh, they're like, so this is one thing that can kill us? Great, we destroyed it.
yeah, or so you think.
Mm.
The other sort of consequence here was the hunger for blood. Obviously, they're vampires.
Yeah. And that without blood, they wouldn't be able to survive, so...
There they go.
Just this entire sequence of, them running down, everything that, it was like, you can have one thing, but not the other. It's like that power balancing you always talked about being. This was, awesome.
It lays it out very nicely for us.
And it, gives it, a reason. Here's the reason why Vervain burned. It's because had a hand in... Because it grew at the base of the white oak tree. They couldn't go out in the sun, because they drew in the sun for life, so the sun could be their death. They couldn't go into homes to hurt people, so that's why. It was just, it was good.
It felt very full circle.
Yeah.
And kind of there was a hole somewhere, and they just placed the thing that goes in the hole so that you it's kind of like a puzzle.
Yeah.
And it was missing a piece, but then they found it and they put it in, and you just feel so satisfied.
It was also just interesting to kind of finally learn the origins of how vampires were created and why they were created. This was much different than I was expecting. Because at the end of the day, it was a mother wanting to protect her children. That she was willing to do whatever she wanted to keep them alive. And it was just, oh, it's so good. I love this.
Yeah, it's wild.
It is.
And I really did like it. It was a very satisfying scene. It was like that scene at, the scene at the end of a detective movie where they draw it all together. This is how it all connects. This is why, and this is the one who did it.
It's like you're reading a murder mystery book, and you're
exactly. It's the last chapter. They bring it all together.
You're just oh, thank you so much for that. That felt very good.
It's
all right. That's a series finale, guys. Gotta go.
All right, bye, guys. We'll see you next week when we start the originals. Except maybe we won't, because if we ended here, the originals never would have. Oh my god, this whole podcast is a mess.
And I will say, with the Vampire Diaries, I feel like that is one of their strong suits of bringing a story together so that everything makes sense, and it doesn't. Nothing feels too out of place. Whereas again, I've mentioned this before with a lot of other shows I watch. Sometimes if they'll leave a lot of doors open, and then when they come to and they're okay, this is how all of these things connect, you're just that doesn't make any sense. You did too much. I think that's the problem sometimes with show. They do too much to make it connect, and this felt very much oh, this was meant to connect. This was already thought of beforehand, and that's why this is happening.
Because I think in the books, the origins of Klaus was they were much older than this, and they weren't called the originals, they were called the old ones. Yeah. Great name, by the way. Really happy they changed that. And I think they got, and it's really funny, they got their powers from the devil.
Oh, we love
a good devil.
We stand.
But I'm not 100% sure, but it was very different in the book, so seeing it this and laying it out, tying it into vampires were created in Mystic Falls. I'm that's kind of cool.
Also,
that's interesting.
Also, what's nice, they kept it in the family. You're this is a father who hates his children so much. This is the mother who made them all vampires. Go.
Yeah.
Stop bothering me. Get out of my office, please. They're all related. Fuck you. They kept it in the family.
I just think it's very genius of them. And I won't say that a lot about the Vampire Diaries, okay? I won't say that a lot about the writers, because sometimes they do stuff and you're just what did you guys just do? That was bad. But this one, this was good.
Yeah. This was a good one. Now we cut to the bar again, where Damon and Stefan are still partying it up, and Damon's dancing on the bar, except he can't dance. Yeah. We've talked about this before, right? The man cannot dance. Yeah. He's just gyrating his hips. That's it. Stefan is feeding. Somebody notices Stefan feeding, and Damon compels them to forget it. The brothers share some more drinks. Stefan continues to question why Damon let him out, and Damon's well, I want you to fight back against Klaus. because you can win, which is Stefan couldn't win that fight, but love that cheerleading from you, Damon.
Straight up lies.
Who else shows up but Michael, saying that he can help with Klaus.
Dun, dun, dun.
I love how he just appears out of the
makes
shadows.
You wonder, where the hell is Catherine?
Oh yeah, also where's Catherine? That's also what I also questioned that. I was like, where's Catherine?
I think Damon also actively questioned that in the episode. He's like, where's Catherine? I guess it worked. Thanks, Cat. Okay, bye.
Great, thanks, Catherine. It's been real.
Don't know where you are. It's been real and it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun, so you can just go.
Yeah.
And she did, apparently. So back at the Salvatore house, Elena's wondering why why Michael hates Klaus so much. And Rebecca basically explains that when Klaus made his first kill as a vampire, it triggered his werewolf gene.
Dun, dun,
because Esther had cheated on Michael with one of the werewolves from the village, and so she tried to make it right by putting the hybrid curse on Klaus, which was basically binding his werewolf side. But that wasn't enough for Michael, because, as a human, his greatest weakness was pride, and as a vampire, it was magnified.
Dun, dun, dun.
Michael went on a rampage, killing about half the village, and then killed Esther because she broke his heart, and he tore her heart from her chest as Klaus watched.
That's kind of
hardcore.
Fucked up. Yeah.
What, you're telling me this man who abuses his child was not nice to his wife, and that's surprising?
No.
Standards are so low, and yet I'm still surprised every time.
He's like, let me add just a little bit more trauma for my children.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more. So basically, in another flashback, Klaus and Rebecca bury Esther. Basically, the rest of their family scattered, and but Klaus stayed behind to help Rebecca say goodbye to her mother, and she tells Klaus that she will never abandon him. And then out of the shadows steps Elijah in, we had to agree, bad wig.
Mm-hmm.
In his wig.
And he is, though, fucking ripped.
Yeah.
He is.
And I do appreciate that, just aesthetically.
Yeah.
Here's the real question, though. Do we remember how bad Elijah's hair was when we first met him?
Yes.
Is his hair as a Viking better or worse?
I find it sexy.
Brian.
What? Vikings can be cute?
I don't even remember his first hairstyle. I have to look it up.
Go look back.
It was like middle part.
It was middle part. It was bad. I'll let you look it up here. But is it worse than this long hair?
Oh, it's not worse. No.
It might be worse than this long hair, honestly. We're making fun of this wig, but I think this long hair works with the whole aesthetic much more cohesively than his weird middle part worked with the suits.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, the middle part's the worst, I think. It's my least favorite Elijah hair.
Oh no, there's a wig we see him in season 2 that is much worse than the middle part.
Oh yeah, the one from the Katarina flashback.
Uh-huh.
It's very bad.
That whatever episode that was, one of those episodes.
Yeah, one of those ones that was named after a person.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think I hate the middle part. I think I like it.
It just doesn't feel very Elijah to me.
I guess.
Yeah, because his hair gets so much better.
Yeah,
you're gonna be amazed that you settled for the middle part trash.
It definitely doesn't work with his whole aesthetic, but I don't hate it.
Exactly.
The Elijah aesthetic. He's very clean cut, little bit of stubble, properly groomed, in a suit.
It doesn't fit with his aesthetic, but I don't hate the hair.
It looks like he has to go to a concert and play at a piano recital.
It's his 7th grade piano recital. He's worked very hard on this. Please don't be mean to him.
And Michael's in the back with a sword, saying if you miss a note.
Oh
God. So basically, those three agree to stick together as one, always and forever.
Now, Jordan, I will say this to you. Remember, always and forever is going to be said for forever, basically. But remember, only 3 siblings said that to each other.
Okay.
So kind of keep that in mind.
Elena starts to question like Rebecca's always and forever vow, because Klaus did lock her in a coffin for 90 years.
Mhm.
And Rebecca's like, well, we are a vampire. Our emotions are heightened. I'm very stubborn. Elijah's very moral. And Klaus has no tolerance for those who disappoint him. Which I don't think
That's
moral is a thing you can just be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morality is a whole thing.
It's a construct.
Right?
But then again, Elijah's very, like, to his word.
Yeah, but that's not morality.
Elijah is loyal and...
they should have said loyal.
Loyal is a much better way to describe than moral.
Yeah.
Like, how would Elijah react to the trolley problem? The real question. He's moral. What does that mean in the context of the trolley problem?
See, for me, I just kind of put moral and loyal as the same thing in my brain. So now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh yeah.
Very much
like it just doesn't, like something about it strikes you as a little weird. And then when you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's because
that's not right.
It's just weird.
That's incorrect.
Yeah.
And basically Rebecca says that, like, I don't want to spend an eternity alone. So if my brother's kind of a dick sometimes, fine.
Which is kind of sad.
This hurts.
Which, Rebecca, we're gonna get you out of this toxic relationship, honey. Rebecca also just, like, at this point is fucking done with this conversation, which, as she should be.
She really should be.
She's just trying to get Elena to leave, but Elena's like, no, why shouldn't you wake Michael? As much as Elena wants Klaus dead, Rebecca's like, well, if you come after Klaus, I will rip you to fucking shreds. And I just gotta say, that's so sexy of her.
I love Rebecca so much. I just love, like, I know it's toxic, but I love the loyalty that the Michelson siblings have for one another.
Yeah.
They will fight, kill, dagger each other to the end of time, but at the end of the day, it's still always and forever. They will still have that vow that no matter what, they'll stick together. And it's just, I love it so much. They should make this a spinoff. It'd be such a good spinoff.
God, if only.
I know, right? I hope in season 4 they do this episode called The Originals.
I hope episode 420 is a good one.
I know, me too. 420, I forgot it was episode 420.
It's absolutely episode 420.
Because I remember because Jordan, like, you kind of know, like, what happens and, like, kind of a little bit, but you don't really. First time watching, when we get there to that episode, holy shit, I felt like I was on drugs.
At the bar, Michael is there. He's in a suit now, and his hair is better, but he's still shitty. Yeah. So he is trying to question Stefan to try and find Klaus. However, Stefan was compelled to keep his damn mouth shut, so he can't really say anything.
Yeah.
Damon tries to intervene, but Michael tells him that he's been a vampire hunter longer than he's been alive. So he punches into Stefan's chest, and he's holding Damon's heart. Fuck this. I do this once an episode at least. Yeah. With somebody.
No, when I was writing out these notes, I did the exact same thing. I was like, he punches into Stefan's heart while wait, what?
He punches into Damon's heart. Stefan intervenes. And as Michael is, like, about to kill Damon, Stefan's like, well, I can't tell you where Klaus is, but I can bring Klaus back to Mystic Falls. So there's always that funness. So Stefan is still trying to be a shitty guy. He's still Klaus's little shitty guy, but he's also trying to help in his own weird way.
Yeah.
And Michael says that he will kill Klaus. He will drive a stake through his heart. But if Stefan fails, Michael will kill Stefan.
That's a good threat.
Michael makes some good threats because we've already seen him be a crazy, abusive asshole.
Correct.
Yeah.
I question from the beginning, since we've seen him, how is there such thing as a vampire hunter? You know?
Because Michael, I think he kind of says it in the next episode. He kind of explains why he does what he does.
I'm just assuming it's because he hates his kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's one of the varying reasons, but there's another.
You ever just hate your kids so goddamn much
that you want to kill them, and then you do? It just takes, like, a lot of, like, hate and rage inside of yourself to want to kill off your own children, especially when the reason why you made them into vampires was so that they wouldn't die.
Mainly, he just wants to kill Klaus. I think Klaus is the main target, right?
Yeah.
Like, the other ones, he's
Klaus
not
is
jazzed with them, but Klaus is the main target, I think, right?
It's Klaus,
Cool.
100%.
Back in the caves, Alaric is putting the puzzle together with Elena and Bonnie. Bonnie's here again, Jordan. This is where she is. They're like trying to figure out the puzzle and everything. However, there's one that he can't really figure out. They have the witch symbol with a bleeding heart, but upside down, which means that she got her heart ripped out of her chest, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also
totally
like a
normal
combination symbol, like the werewolf and the vampire symbol together.
I don't understand why it took Alaric so long to figure out what that was.
I really don't either, because he knows there's a hybrid. He knows there's somebody who is both.
Right in front of him. It's like on the nose. And he's just like, oh, no.
Elena has the revelation that Rebecca doesn't know the whole story.
Dun, dun,
I guessed it at this point, what was going on.
So she busts back into the Salvatore house and asks Rebecca how she know that it's Michael who killed her mother. And Rebecca basically heard from Klaus, and she believes Klaus. She's a little girl who believes her big brother, you know? But Elena says that he lied. She shows her the drawings and reveals that the hybrid killed the original witch.
Ooh.
Rebecca's like, no, Nick would never do that. But she's like, well, you know, he was angry. And the werewolf side, all the aggression is all heightened because he's a vampire and a werewolf. And Rebecca denies it all, burning the photos. And Elena keeps pushing Rebecca, which is not the smartest thing to do.
Especially
because
she's a vampire.
Rebecca snaps. And she is like about to kill Elena. Straight up. Like about to murk Elena here.
Yeah.
But she realizes that it's true. And Klaus is the one who killed their mother. And she starts to break down crying.
It's really sad.
I do love how Rebecca like takes the pictures and goes, these are the stupid drawings from stupid people who didn't know anything about my family. Like, Claire, I love you.
Claire.
I love Rebecca. She owns. I love it. Such a good fucking scene.
It is. It's Claire Holt. You're so good. Nina Dobrev, you're also so good.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, you're so good. God. Women. Just women.
Women.
Just that one meme. Women.
Yeah.
I like how I just said the word women like 5 times, referencing like 5 different memes.
Yeah.
And yet,
basically.
we all know which ones they were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's on feminism.
That's on female supremacy.
Outside of the bar, Damon and Stefan are walking to the car, and Damon's pissed at Stefan for waiting for the last minute to save him. And Stefan's like, I didn't have a fucking breakthrough, and, you know, the real reason I saved you is because you reminded me of what freedom was like, and once they kill Klaus, he'll be free to live however he wants, away from Damon.
Oof.
And basically, Stefan questions why everybody's trying to save him. And Damon's like, it's my fault that you got into this mess in the first place, and that I owe it to you. And they start to do a little roughhousing. They're rowdy boys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of rowdy boys this episode.
Maybe they're mirroring Elijah and Klaus.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I do love how Damon like admitted like, this is my fault. Like, I did this to you. Like, the only reason you're in this mess is because of me.
It's the first time Damon has taken any accountability ever.
Yeah. And it was really, I was like, oh shit.
Maybe that's why I thought he was pretty bearable this episode.
Yeah, because he kind of admitted his wrongs. Like, he admitted, like, I messed up. It is my fault.
Maybe it's when the writers actually do something that makes Damon look like he's improving. And
wait, character growth for Damon? No.
What if that was like constantly happening, and then I actually grew to like Damon instead of you forcing me to somehow love him?
Nah.
No?
Nah.
All right.
Yeah.
So we go back to the Gilbert house, basically, where Damon shows up to basically tell Elena that they have found Michael, and he's rightly so thinking that Elena should be angry at him for freeing Stefan, but he's like, Stefan is on our side to kill Klaus in whatever way he can. And Elena reveals that they might have Rebecca on their side as well, because Rebecca's just a girl who lost her mother too young and really loves hard, and we love that about her. We stand a fucking queen.
Kind of ironic that Elena is saying that. Am I the only one that picked up on that?
No,
okay,
I
never
like
mind
kind of.
Yeah, I think you're the only one who picked up on that.
I don't think it was ironic to me. To me, it felt very like parallel-ish. Like,
yeah, it was like a parallel parking. Like, Elena was like parallel parking like into her spot. She's like, "Hey, I'm a girl who lost my mother too young. I love recklessly and blindly, and it consumes me." Blah, blah,
that's
blah,
what it felt
blah.
like to me. Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
They also have a little talk about the most important bond being family. And for all of Elena saying that, she really has dropped Jeremy like a sack of potatoes for these last few episodes. So I just want to say, practice what you preach, sweetheart. That's still your little brother.
Like, sure, he kind of like screwed over your best friend, but that's still your brother.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this episode. She goes to sleep and Damon's there just like chilling on the other side of the bed. It's a little weird, but oddly enough, the Delena scene that I've hated the least.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, though, this was the one scene I loved because Elena even said, like, she's like, I'm not the one that's going to save Stefan from himself. It's going to be you. Like, you're the one who's going to save Stefan.
And we love that for them, actually. Because Damon saving Stefan would be some really good growth.
Yeah.
It would be. I also do love, it was a very funny, like, little, like, thing I'd never noticed the first time I watched this. Like, because Damon's, like, laying on the bed when she was just trying to get into it, so she's, like, trying to, like, pull the sheets from under him. She's like, come on.
And she can't do it, like, twice, and he's just chilling there. Again, like, in his jeans. Like,
on her bed.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, don't wear jeans in a bed. That's a literal crime.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
Not that it's only uncomfortable, but you were out in those jeans, and then you just get in someone's bed.
Elena at this point, she's like, I give up. I'm done.
She's like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. Fuck you, I'm going to sleep.
But I will say, though, like, this is what I said, like, when the love triangle is at its best in season 3, I love this scene because it kind of reminds me of, like, that longing that they have for each other, but it's like, neither of them are going to act upon it because they're focusing on Stefan. Yeah. Now that I said that, just sounded weird to myself that I said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, Jordan. What are you going to rank episode 308, Ordinary People? What are you ranking it?
I think the reason why I really like this episode was the lore and, like, the revelation of where vampires came from and, like, a whole explanation of the originals, their family backstory and everything. I think that was really cool. But then everything else kind of fell flat. But I do think that was, like, the main focus of the episode. I think they did a great job with that, and I think the flashbacks were also, like, really, really good, you know? So, like, I guess that main, like, plot line was, like, the strongest of the 3, and I really enjoyed that, but then the other 2 were kind of, like, there, but, like, not very, like, wow to me.
What do you mean when you say the other 2 plot lines?
Sorry, the other one.
The other one was a Lark
Well,
doing
no,
puzzles.
there was a Lark doing puzzles, and then there was Damon and Stefan in a bar, you know? Not
Okay.
they weren't really like plot lines per se. They were just things that kind of happened to the side, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like even though like in general this was like a really good episode, I don't think I love this episode, you know? Um
Okay.
there was nothing like other than like the learning of like everything and like the lore. Like there was nothing that like really pulled me in. Um so I don't know. I don't I feel like I can't rate this like very very high because I didn't like love watching this episode, but I love like learning the information. So
Really? It just
Yeah.
didn't have that X factor for
yeah,
you?
I didn't.
Weird.
X gonna give it to you.
I think I'm gonna give it like an 8. Like it was better than a 7 because like it wasn't just like okay. Like I really liked like learning about everything and like the flashbacks were really cool, but it wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
so entertaining to me that I can give it like a 9 or a 10.
Mm-hmm. Brian, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna go 9.5
9.5.
because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a whore for the lore.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Hashtag lore whores.
I loved it. I just loved the entire like Elena Rebecca stuff. Like it was honestly one of my favorite things of season 3, which is gonna be a lot because this is my favorite season. And I also, I mean, even as much as like the Damon and stuff is kind of this, meh, it was there. It was kind of really good, like
Mhm.
brother stuff,
It
and
was.
that's the
Yeah.
kind of stuff that I love. Stefan and Damon. It's like when they work together and they're not constantly fighting and battling each other and being like, "I love Elena." No, I love Elena. No, like fucking work together, you idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Put Damon's 1 brain cell to Stefan's 2 brain cells, and you'll get 3.
You make 3. Woo! I think I'm gonna go with Brian and give this episode a 9.5
Yay!
because it was really good. I liked learning all the information. I liked that the secondary plot didn't really take away from any of that.
Yeah.
It was mirroring it in a way, and also the most tolerable Damon's
That's
been
true.
in the entire series. So I feel like I have
Yeah.
to give this episode some credit where credit's due for the fact that it's good. It's a good episode.
Yeah.
It was just very well written, honestly.
It was a very good episode. Hey gang,
Hi,
who's the MVP of this episode?
Rebecca.
I was gonna say Rebecca actually as well.
It was 100% between, for me. It was between Elena and Rebecca.
For me, again, like I said, I didn't. It was hard for me, for me personally, to like think of anyone because to me, everything kind of felt in the middle in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I would go with Rebecca too, but I wouldn't say like I'm like itching for anyone per se.
I think Rebecca just did the best this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, because she went through the
I
most,
agree.
honestly.
I agree. Yeah.
So, this episode, we've actually gone on quite a hot streak here, starting with The Reckoning. We've had 4 very good episodes in a row now.
Yeah, we have.
Here's hoping that next episode, 309 Homecoming, keeps up that pattern of goodness. So if you want to... What?
I will say the 309 at the Homecoming, it's a wild time.
Oh, good. I cannot wait.
It is wild. Because I've already done the notes for that episode, and holy shit, even I couldn't keep up. It's very much how I want to compare it to is Masquerade a little bit.
Ooh, I'm excited.
It's kind of like everyone gets their own little mission.
I love that.
But it's not as good, in my opinion.
But Masquerade was also peak TVD.
Top tier.
Top tier.
Straight up will be one of the best episodes, I think, of TVD overall, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you can, in the meantime, we have other episodes you can listen to. Go catch up. Go listen to our episode about Masquerade again. That's what, episode fucking 15 of Afterbite? Yeah, go back and listen to that one. Get a little taste of what's in store for next week. Or just follow us on Twitter at AfterbitePod so you can know as soon as the episode is up. If you want to leave us voicemails and tell us how stupid we are or how, like, big brain genius we are, do so on anchor.fm/Afterbite. Until then, stay inside, stay safe, and wash your fucking hands.
Wear a mask.
Defund the police. I hope everyone knows when I say defund the police, I really mean as in the first step to abolishing the police.
That is true. It is our first step towards many to abolishing and